A solo explorer is someone who basically gets over their fears of roaming this lovely planet we have here alone. And as a solo explorer, I take what I do very serious, put a lot of my own resources and energy into making sure that I spend time alone roaming around, and that's what a solo explorer does. First and foremost is freedom. I believe my purpose this lifetime definitely was to be free and to enjoy why I came here. And for me, that is exploring Earth, seeing it, not being afraid of it, having incredible experiences where I get to touch Earth, be with Earth, whether it's scuba diving in Colombia or, hanging out with the redwoods in the Central Coast. It has really contributed to my purpose in so many ways, and I hope that it also encourages other people to explore freely and not be afraid to tackle their purpose, and you will find your purpose in exploring. But I am a believer in solo exploration and finding out who you are, and you can do it alone. As a note, we chased a dog away like 10 minutes ago. Shout out to Jake for the shirt. I mean, I paid for it, but I'm just saying shout out to the artist. Such a deep person, so my first instinct is to say it started before I was born. It started when I was on my way out of college, and I was writing a lot of biographies in Philadelphia at the time. And that's what I went to school for. It's what my degree is in. And I loved writing. I wrote all the time and thought I was going to do it professionally until I got introduced to photography and filmmaking when I was about to graduate college. And as soon as I put the camera in my hand, it just went from there. It wasn't a thing of like, oh, I was 3 years old and my grandpa had a Polaroid, and you know what I mean? It didn't happen that way for me. For me, it was simply, I was early 20s, someone put a camera in my hand and it connected and it took me around the world, and it even has me here in this place, in this environment. I was already traveling, already interested in traveling before photography came into my life. And then when it did, it just completely just opened it up for me, and I began traveling. I began, meeting people, doing work, doing my life's work, all through becoming a visual storyteller. And although I want to say maybe I'm 10 years or so, 10 years is all together. I don't contribute that to my entire career because of how I started with photography, but 10 years altogether since this idea came about. And it has led me from, I was born in Jersey, family moved to Philly when I was a teenager, and then I moved to Los Angeles when I was about 25. And it has taken me all around the world and has given me everything I could have asked for, and more, financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of it. Photography is definitely a tool, and it is a tool. I consider it a tool because when I'm traveling, whether alone or with a group or teaching, the camera is a byproduct of us deciding to be in this place at this time. And photography, the photos that I produce or the images that I make aren't a full embodiment of me. And so that's why I consider photography a tool. It's a way to express. It's a way that I use a tool to express myself. It's a way that I've taught many students around the world, honestly, that photography is a tool because it's expression. Everything we do outside of ourselves, I believe, is just an internal form of expression, or we're projecting our internal space. And photography, sometimes I travel and I don't even use my camera. It's there with me. It's a tool, it's a companion, but sometimes I just want to be there. It's such an amazing excuse to go somewhere, to be free, to get lost, to make things that I don't have to necessarily spend hours culminating myself. Not to say I don't spend hours traveling and researching and all this stuff, but I can go somewhere, have a camera, stop time, tell a story, express myself, and still be who I am. Photography is It's so personal to me because I produce most of it on my own. I don't work in big groups and projects. I do sometimes here and there when I'm doing more commercial or working with bigger clients, but in my own personal, photography is more personal to me than anything. I've produced more images and artistic pieces for myself than I have for other people, and I'm very proud to say that. The other day I was driving and when every time, oh, you're a photographer, who do you shoot for? My motherfucking self. That's who I shoot for. And I'm reprogramming myself day after day after day. Like, why do I have to do this? Why would I do this for somebody else? What am I getting out of that? Doing it for someone else versus really doing it for myself, even when I'm working with a client, because it makes me happy. I'm creative, it's joyful. The other person is happy, we have a good time, I'm outside, I'm in nature. That's fucking freedom. That's why photography is a tool for me, because it brings me closer to freedom. It's very, very important to be yourself, and ironically, I don't think we have the ability to fully know ourselves because we haven't been presented with every possibility that we could go after or experience. So we don't know ourselves. We think we know ourselves, and that's good enough for right now. Being myself has gotten me into doors and has kept me in those spaces, and being myself has also kept me from being in spaces and getting kicked out of spaces, both in the roles of personality and the roles of what I choose to do with my body, and what I put in my body, if you get my drift. Choosing to be myself has allowed so much peace into my life, in business and non-business. And me moving slow has contributed to me really knowing myself. And so, you know, over the last couple years, I've lost a lot of big clients because I just was like, nah, I ain't doing it. And without no type of, signed the contract, got the dates, lined up, all of that, and still was like, oh, you don't have this? No, I don't have that. Well, you can't, that's fine. Rolling back to how does being myself, you know, contribute to my business and to my career path? It just does. You feel it. You feel it when you wake up, you feel it when you go to bed, you feel it when you're working with the people that you work for. If I wasn't myself, I wouldn't be sitting here with this Joshua tree behind me. Skyra, your future favorite filmmaker, who is actually back there, you just don't see him. But that's what being myself brings into my life. It brings me around people who I consider my soul tribe, my soul family. It brings me clients that I can laugh with and have an amazing time with. It brings me into environments that I can really be myself and not have a fear if I'm gonna lose this job, lose this client, because I'm not even coming from there from the beginning. My approach is already to not have to deal with no wild shit. And so that's how being myself has aided in my whole feng shui of how I get down with my chosen path. My chosen path, both in physical and spiritually. Quit acting like a bia. Yesterday I was driving, I was thinking about myself as a woman. I'm totally a woman, hand down. But how I operate in this realm goes completely against the programming of what a woman's supposed to be. And in the realm that I'm in, the work that I choose to do, the locations I choose to be, the type of physical things that are required of me to be in these places are very masculine, right? I'm not doing anything that I don't think a woman from however many thousands of years ago wasn't doing. For me in my brain to think that women didn't explore either, that they was just sitting at home, that's fucking bonkers to me. I don't believe that. So now there is a stigma. I don't want to say the word stigma, but there is a stigma like, oh, you're a woman. I grew up like this. I grew up with my mother and grandmother still absolutely terrified to this day about, what are you doing? Are you going to get hurt? Da, da, da. I'm more safer alone than I've than I am in a crowded street. I've been literally in the middle of nowhere, alone in foreign countries, and have felt my entire heart and soul burst open as a woman in an environment that I'm supposed to be afraid of. So as I continue to do this, I learn not only am I becoming even more of a woman, I'm also becoming even more balanced with my masculine, because it's all about being balanced. I was telling Skyra, I was like, oh, I should have put on my mascara before I did this. I'm like, but that's not reality. You're not ever gonna catch me waking up at 5 in the morning to go hike somewhere, to go to explore a place I've never seen before and put on makeup and some shoes before I do it. Not happening. I just spit because I was so passionate about that. That's something literally the past 2 years that I have been struggling with, is the masculine and feminine thing. Because although I know I'm a woman, and although I know people know I'm a woman, the external component can get like, ooh, but you do this and you dress like this, and you, most of the people I'm around, because of the industry I'm in, oh, it's super masculine. And I think people definitely perceive me as like more masculine than feminine, and that's because they don't know me. And that's because they also think that because I like trees and I can camp by myself and set up a tent, that somehow, some way I'm not feminine, which is fucking crazy. So that very, very important question of the programming around women who do more masculine-based activities, it doesn't mean anything. All it means is that you know what the fuck you're doing out here. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. My dad been teaching me how to change my oil and my tires since I was 20 years old. Most men that I know can't do it. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. Are you able to physically, emotionally, and mentally handle and be a part and adapt to the environment that you're a part of, whether you're a man or a woman? It's super crazy. So being a woman, as a photographer, as a filmmaker, I'm still a woman. I'm just balanced within my feminine and masculine, because that's what the fuck is required of me to do the job I came here to do.